morning, everybody. First stream of 2023 here. And one that I wasn't sure was actually going to happen because here in Northern California, there have been a series of rainstorms happening, which have caused our power to go out twice over the last 3 days. The first time was a pretty bad outage of about just short of 24 hours, which, isn't, there are people who were out longer. So I really don't complain much about that, but it was a good test of many of the kind of power backup things I have in place, which worked largely very well. But there were a couple things that I've got to improve. Just little things. The biggest problem really is the refrigerator. Honestly, that's the one thing that it is not easy to be able to. There's a line. It actually is easy depending on how you look at it. But when the power goes out, there's a couple of critical things that you have to worry about. One is, what's the word for it? Shelter. If it's freezing cold and you have no heat, you're going to freeze to death. If it's too hot and you can't cool down, I don't know what the word is for overheating to death, but it would be that. So that's the primary. I would say, well, not the primary, but that's one of your primary concerns is shelter, heating, cooling. Now, that wasn't really a problem in this case because for California, I suppose it was on the cool side. It was around 50 degrees, but the reality is it wasn't so cold that a blanket or two doesn't fix that problem. In the summer, of course, the problem is cooling down. That's a different problem. And that is power outages in the summer are something that actually have happened quite often over the last 4 or 5 years because of wildfire concerns and because the utility out here is, less than fantastic would be the way to say it. Yeah, that's being extraordinarily generous. They're a great example of why monopolistic companies are a bad thing. And so we have not yet been hit by one of these threatened outages in the summer, but I just feel like that's only a matter of time because the summers have been getting increasingly hotter for longer. So it's just a matter of, I think, when, not if. So in the summer it's not as big a concern because what's nice is we have USB rechargeable fans. So at the very least we can have some kind of airflow. The other concern, and this would be a concern both in winter and in summer, is refrigeration. Hold on, I'm just getting a sip of water right now. Refrigeration becomes a problem because you're really not supposed to go more than, or so it's recommended, 4 to 6 hours, and 6 hours I think is probably pushing it, with or a refrigerator that's off can maintain its cold for at the most around 6 hours. And I think in that case, it would be if you really had a kind of packed and very low dialed in, meaning low temperature refrigerator. Well, our fridge is not overly full all the time because that tends to lead to waste. And we don't have it cranked all the way down because when we've done that, it has actually really made some things, you have to really thaw stuff out, even from the fridge. Our freezer was fine. But the fridge, on the first outage, we had to throw a lot of things away, which, was not great because it is just pure food waste at that point. And then when we had a second outage, the thought was, oh man, are we going to have to throw more stuff away? And that would have just been kind of being kicked in the groin right after, being kicked in the face, or vice versa, depending on which version of that you find worse. Luckily, the second outage only lasted 3 hours, so that wasn't a big deal. And we had an insulated bag with all the perishable groceries we just bought that we put in with frozen stuff, and it was only 3 hours, so we lucked out there. But yeah, it was in a way a good test of, okay, what can we manage to keep charged and everything else. And the battery pack that I bought worked very well. but I did get a second bigger one to supplement it that can actually run slightly bigger things. And that's where the crossover point happens, where you have to sit there and go, do I need an actual generator? Generators are expensive, they're loud. You know, at this point, not really convinced that we necessarily need that yet, although I'll say this, I'm not that far from being at the point of saying, yeah, let's get one. So we shall see what comes. But yeah, so I didn't know if I was going to be streaming this morning because I didn't know if I'd wake up to power or not. But fortunately, it was only 3 hours. And it happened at a convenient time, honestly. It happened right late at night. It was around 9. No, it was about 10 o'clock. It was right about 10 o'clock. And so, you know, it's not like it was the second outage. Actually, both outages happened around 9 o'clock. So it really wasn't bad because we slept through a lot of it. And the first one, we slept not as much in the first one because that was a 23-hour outage. But the second one, we basically slept right through. And then once the power came back on, I got up and put everything back in the fridge and, you know, turned off all the lights that were left on when the power went out and all that stuff. So really not bad. But good testing on both sides of power strategy. So anyway, here we are. Welcome to 2023. Happy New Year. At least in terms of the stream, yeah, Happy New Year. Because we haven't had a stream since 2022. So we're back with our bag of eyeballs here. And let's take a look at, we did our secondary black layers. Yeah, I think I'm gonna follow this model. I like this model of doing this. I have to do some little adjustments because you can see some of the folds aren't where they need to be, so we're gonna have to extend those a little bit. But overall, I like where this is. So we've done all of our dark or our green areas. So let's punch back into our blacks. And oh, I think I have to sneeze. I'm gonna mute for a second. Hold on. Oh, okay. That was a sneeze, but it was a pathetic one, so I probably didn't even have to mute. That was barely even a sneeze. Anyway. Okay, let's see here. Where are we? So let's... Okay, that is not the brush I want to use for that. Oh, I'm in paint. That's why. Let's see. Is this... Okay, this will work. Let's go ahead and fill in these black areas. And then we can do... So what I'm going to be trying is a little cross-hatching method that if you read a lot of Japanese comics, manga comics, is pretty familiar. It's sort of this, I wouldn't quite call it cross-hatching. I don't think that would be correct, but it's kind of these, I don't know, these layered lines. I could show you. Let me show you an example. Let me think about this. I could probably use the technical pen on a nice small setting. Let's add a layer just for example. But it's essentially lines like this. Actually, no, I think they're actually thinner than that. But they pile them up. Yeah, I gotta figure out how I'm gonna do this. I may do them as a. I may do. I don't know. Maybe they won't make sense for an image like this. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I've never done it before, so I have to figure out how I'm. And this pen may not be small enough for it. Honestly, I may have to use something like a technical pen. Okay, well, geez, why is that bigger? Oh, because it's pushed all the way up. Hold on, let me dial that down. Yeah, okay, see, yeah, so it's something like this, but then they do these secondary layers to them. But see, this image may not even support that. It may be too small an image. I don't know. Oh, that doesn't look bad. Well, okay, let's finish what we're working on first. One step at a time. We'll get to that. In the meantime, let's go ahead and get our black layers filled in. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I mean, I could... The other option is to do something like this. Is to use the black layers as a guide. So turn that down, right? And actually do them all in crosshatch like this. Where, see, and then they do things like this. But then what's interesting is then they do like a secondary. A lot of times I see this secondary layer done in here. And I always like it when I see it. See how that cross-hatching is sort of happening, even though it's not really cross-hatching in the traditional sense? That may not be very visible. Let me turn the black layer off. See that? I see that a lot, and I like it. It's not something I normally do, though, so I don't really know if I have a grasp on how they do it. But this is essentially what they do. Traditional cross-hatching, I shouldn't say true. Traditional cross-hatching is literally cross-hatch lines like that. Well, that's not what I want. I don't like cross-hatching like that. But I kind of like when I see people doing this version of it. You know, where they create a black layer out of all these over-repeated lines, and they sort of just keep layering them on. You know, again, I don't know that I'm good enough to do it the way they do it. I should say if, I know I'm not. But see, I kind of like that. It's an interesting look. It's a little bit different than just the stark black stuff that I do. But I'm not convinced I can actually do that competently. I really am not. So, whoops, turn it off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my normal black layer. I'm going to fill in everything, and I'm going to do that last, and I'm going to see how it looks. Because it may not look that good. That's just the reality. It might not come out that well. And if it doesn't, I don't want to, you know. This black layer will work. I know this will work because I've done it before. And I will be fine with it. But I will also try to experiment with that different way of cross-hatching stuff, and we'll see how it goes. And that's all we can do, is just try stuff and see how it is. So, yeah, let me see something here. Let me take a look and see if this thing shows me... Oh, Faint Waves. I'm assuming Faint Waves is a real person. Well, I know Faint Waves is a real person. I shouldn't say it that way. But in other words, the viewer list may actually be accurate this morning, because it showed Faint Waves in the chat. At least the chat on this, at least the chat on the art streams works. The one on the game streams, I don't know what's going on with that. I really don't. But you know, whatever. C'est la vie, c'est to show you never can't. I'm not gonna sing. Keep going and singing because, you know, normally when I'm singing, nobody's listening, and therefore they don't know how crappy I am at it. Yeah, well, that's good. At least for once the thing is accurate. So, Happy New Year and good whatever time zone you're in. Version of good whatever it is in whatever time zone you're in. All right. So, yeah, we'll go through and we'll do this, what I'll call my traditional sort of black layer, which I do usually put little lines on the end or on the edge, not end, that indicate an edge. So I normally do small lines, but I normally do just one row of them. That's kind of always been my way of doing things. But I'm going to try this other method of it because, like I said, I see it, and I always like it when I see it. I just don't know whether I really have the ability to do it or not. So if I don't, that's fine. It's still good to try new things once in a while. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And the nice part is it'll be on its own layer, so if it really looks like crap, then I'll just turn the layer off. But, you know, it's good to try different things once in a while. So yes, it's been a interesting last few days in terms of power. But on the plus side, I mean, I think there are people who couldn't live without power. Well, okay. There are certain aspects of not having power that you can't live without, meaning survival. But I mean more of, I think there are people now who probably would go crazy without having electricity and internet. Really it did not bother me all that much. That part of it. You know, knowing that the pure survival elements were covered, meaning we didn't have to worry about it being too cold, because it really never was. And we had food that we could eat without having to... I mean, we have a pizza oven that, honestly, if we needed to, we could have cooked in. We didn't ever do it. We at one point were about to, and then we found some... Because we still had hot water. We were lucky that way, too. We still had hot water. So you could shower and all the... You know, that stuff was all fine. And we never ran into a problem with food because we had food that really just needed water or... a very minimal amount of prep that really just didn't involve much. So outside of that, it was no big deal. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was inconvenient. Having to lift the garage door manually as opposed to using a opener. A little bit of extra effort, but it's not as if the garage door weighs 4,000 pounds. That wasn't a problem either. What the hell? What did I do there? Did I not even realize I did that? I didn't. I clearly did not realize I had a mark there. Our dog was a little bit thrown off by it, but she got used to it too. It wasn't a big deal. Yeah. And it was interesting at night because it was extremely quiet. Because you kind of don't think about, even when in a house in an area that is relatively quiet, you don't think about how much background noise there is, literally from the electronics at times. So there's like a low grade hum that goes on that was missing. So it was interesting, but it was raining, so the rain was a nice kind of put you to sleep type thing. But yes, I got some reading done. Doing some, honestly, just cleaning some stuff around the house that normally I don't do because I'm distracted by other things. So, not bad really overall. Not bad at all. And yeah, we were able to keep cell phones and everything charged, so that was fine. We never ran into any issues there. At one point, I had a nice little wireless speaker going. Or I charged my little wireless speaker. Bluetooth speaker, I mean. So we took down the Christmas tree and some of the Christmas decorations. So had things to do. And that was fine. So we'll see. We'll see. Who knows? We may lose it again tonight or tomorrow. Who knows? It's supposed to rain again tomorrow. So I don't know. The first one, I'm pretty sure because of the wind, it had to be, I'm sure, because so many people were out of power. I think most people have power back now in Northern California, I think. But I'm sure a lot of that was, I mean, we saw uprooted trees when we were driving around. We saw all kinds of stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure that was a lot of, okay, tree falls on power lines, maybe a power pole falling over, because it was so much of a downpour, which softened the ground up. And then there was a lot of heavy wind right after the rain. I mean, almost like the rain stopped and then suddenly the wind just came in its place. Really, really strong in a way that it hadn't been all day. So I would be sure, and based on the uprooted trees and big uprooted trees that we saw, that was a lot of that was actually, I don't know why I'm erasing it. I'm going to be filling it in a minute. Was power lines getting impacted. Now, the one last night, interestingly, if I had a theory on it, would be that it was a damaged transformer on a pole. And the reason I say that is that and the timing was very funny, because Lando and I had literally just within 5 minutes before the power went out, we were playing Ghost Recon Wildlands. And, the night before we'd been playing, and I had said to him, which was New Year's Eve. I had said to him in the game, I said, hey, there's a good possibility, when I was talking to him, that the power might go out, so if I vanish, that's why. And sure enough, we had taken a break because it was East Coast New Year's. I always go by New York time. So for me, New Year's is New York. And so I always call my mother and say Happy New Year. And so we had taken a break for me to call my mother, and I think he called his mother too, and just say Happy New Year, basically. And I had come back to the PlayStation and literally had put the headset on, and the power went out. And then texted him and said, well, there it is, power's out. And that was the 23-hour outage. So the one last night, we were playing Ghost Recon Wildlands again. And of course the PlayStation does not like when it gets shut off. I'm like most electronics that have some kind of OS or whatever. They don't like sudden unexpected power outages. So when I started up, it was like, hey, you turned your power off you didn't properly shut. Well, no kidding. The power went off, PlayStation. What do you want from me? But, that's, anyway. So it did its whole repair process and all that stuff, and it just, gets irritated. So luckily, in the last night's outage, we had just finished playing and I had turned the PlayStation off the proper way by saying power off. And then it went out. So I went, well, at least I'm not going to have to worry about the PlayStation yelling at me today. So that's a plus. And the fact that we didn't have to throw out all the food that we had literally just bought not even 24 hours prior. And the first supermarket we went to obviously had to throw a lot of its stuff out because it just had a sign that said, we're out of a lot of food. So they were closed. They had power, but they didn't have any produce or food. I mean, I'm sure they didn't have a lot of things. Anything they had to throw out, obviously, because it wasn't just residences. It was also, I mean, it's large blocks of areas. Interesting. Like I said, I was pretty pleased at the fact that the power, I have one of those bigger power portable battery, whatever they call them. And it held up really well for what we were using it for because we recharged our phones, our switches. We recharged a smaller battery pack with it, and a couple other things. And it went the whole day. And by the time the power came back on, it was around, if I remember, it was somewhere around 35 to 40%. Which is still a fair amount of charge. I mean, we still probably could have charged both our cell. Oh, and I ran my cell phone running the hotspot for internet to do our show for 2 hours. So our show, because honestly, I said, hey, because Lando said, well, we'll wait to do the show. You don't have power, and I said, no, let's not wait. Let's get this thing knocked out because it's supposed to rain during the week. So I said, for all I know, we're going to have this same scenario multiple times. And I'm going to need the time to edit it if, I'm not going to have my normal workstation because I normally edit on my large desktop PC, which is arm's length from me right now. But I know I can run my laptop and be recharged. Like, that'll run off a battery. My PC won't. I know people be like, you don't have a UPS on your PC? No, I don't. Honestly, because I have a laptop that I can use as a backup. Ironically, I did sort of run into a scenario where I had a file that was only on the desktop PC, but you know what? I figured out my way around it, so it wasn't a big deal. I don't like to be overly dependent on any one thing, so no, I don't have a UPS on it. I could get one, but honestly, I really don't foresee a point where it's going to be necessary anymore. Laptops are strong enough that I can do for things that I would need to do, I could do them on my laptop. It'd be fine. It's no problem. And the fact that these battery packs can recharge a laptop, that's fine. I'm really not going to worry about it. But I said, no, you know what? I have a setup that originally I created it for, we were having internet problems about, I don't know, I guess maybe it's 2 years ago now. It was a year or two ago, whatever it was, where the internet was just acting very, very weird. And the company that we get our internet from, another giant singular entity that has too much control over a very necessary utility, let's call it what it is, was kind of just going, we don't know, for a while. Which is always a great response. What you want out of a company that you're paying a bunch of money to is to be like, well, we're not really sure, buddy. That was great. And so I had made this setup because I didn't know what the internet was looking like. I didn't know if it was going to be reliable or if we were going to run into a real problem. So I had this set up not for power, really, not for a lack of power, but for lack of internet. So that was where the portability came from, was to be able to run it off of my phone. And so Lando said, well, maybe we should just push and do it later in the week. And I said, no, let's do it now. Let's do it. I've got this thing set up. I'm not doing anything. I'm in a power outage. Let's just do it. Just let's see if this thing works. Because if it doesn't, then I got to figure out what I didn't have right. And we ran a 2-hour show on that setup with really no issues outside of initially my headphones did something weird, but that literally was resolved by rebooting my headphones. And that was it, because everything in that setup was wireless. I mean, everything. There was no power, and there was no internet. So no dedicated house power, and no home internet. It was all run off of a cell phone and a portable battery pack and a laptop, and it all worked. So I was actually really pleased, because I didn't know. We had not tested it in any realistic way. I knew all the parts worked. I didn't know if all the parts would work together. So I call that a successful test. And it's nice because that same thing means I could do fundamentally whatever I would need to with a computer from anywhere. It would not be difficult to do that. So in that way, it was beneficial. And like I said, and the other part was, I told him, I said, yeah, I have nothing else to do. Let's just see if this thing works. Why not? And that way, if there is something else that happens, if there is some kind of actual, this was an external cause. If for some reason, we had some kind of house repair or something that had to go on, at least I know it works. So that's what I mean. Power outages for me aren't just sitting around in the dark and going, oh no, I can't wait for the power to come back on. I'm like, all right, let's get some stuff done. Let's see what we can do here. What can get done that normally doesn't get done, because in its way, having power is providing more distractions. So stripped of those things, got some stuff done. Actually, the only thing I really didn't do is I didn't draw at all, because I think my iPad was pretty low, and I didn't want it to be for a while. I was like, yeah, I'm not prioritizing recharging the iPad. I'd rather make sure my laptop is working than my iPad is working, because while the iPad, I know Apple likes to pretend it's a computer, it's not. So I wanted to make sure I had a fully functional computer at hand that was charged. So, but now that I'm going to have a second battery pack, which is actually bigger. Yeah, that's what I mean. My wife and I did play the Switch for a little bit, but really out of the entire time, that was maybe 1 or 2 hours, because the Switch has that little local multiplayer thing where it creates its own internet, which is great. I actually really like that about it. All my complaints about certain things about the Switch. No, I don't have a lot of complaints about the Switch, I should be honest. But that is actually a great little feature, that you just create your own little local internet between 2 machines. But yeah, no, I got reading, and like I said, stuff that there were things to do. Let's put it like that. There were things to do. So I got those things done. You know what? I think I'm going to add... Maybe not. Maybe we'll... Well, you know what? No, I will add it. Let me add a small pocket of black layer right here. There we go. Yeah, it wasn't bad. My like I said, my primary concerns were to make sure I could keep things that needed to be powered, and then the refrigeration thing that just sucked. But it is what it is. What are you gonna do? That's you get irritated about it for 15 minutes, and then you go, well, look, at least we're not in the middle of a blizzard. We're not worried about starving to death, anything like that. So, yes, it's annoying and it's wasteful in terms of food, but it's not something I can control. We didn't waste food because we were being stupid about it. We had to throw it out because the power's out. So, at that point, you have to just say, okay, that's what it is. Is this an empty layer? It is an empty layer. Oh, good. Well, I'll take advantage of layer 48. Now, here's the trick. What pen are we going to use? I mean, the technical pen did work. Let me see. What happens if I knock this tech pen down to, like, 1? What do we get out of that? Let me see. That's, okay, that's too thin. Go to 2. I kind of like that. Just see. Yeah, that might work. Okay, so here's how we're going to do this. So I'm going to I'm going to follow the lines that I established with the black lines. So, let me see something. You know what? Yeah, let's see what this looks like. Let's see what this looks like. Let's do a test of it right here. Let me put it right here. So see, normally my black lines are just this. I would have this coming out of the black lines, right? Just these little lines. Right? This is actually a good area to start with because it's pretty contained. So I think right away I'll know if this is going to work. But normally this is the type of lines I would have coming out of the black layers. So if you hear that squeaking, that's actually my hand rubbing against the iPad case. Is making like a ring, 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 ring squeak. So I don't know if the mic's picking that up. It's pretty funny though. But, sorry. Okay. Why is it? Oh, it's not. Is it? Why am I not getting anything out of here? Hello? What the hell? What's going on? Why is my stuff not showing up? It's really weird. It's like the pencil unpaired. Oh, I just noticed the thing didn't. Hold on. Apple Pencil. What's the... Oh, don't tell me the Apple Pencil ran out of juice. No, it's a 90%. It's not that. Okay, it's not that. I was going to say, don't tell me that. All right, let me reshare this thing. Sorry. Hold on, let me reorient. And do that. Okay, here we go. Let's see what this does. I don't know what... There it goes. I think the Apple Pencil just got lost for a minute. Oh, jeez. Oh, it really crashed out. Okay. Oops. It really lost its connection. Normally, I don't have to re-enter the code. There we go. I tell you. Okay. Oh, you know what? No, actually, see, I shouldn't do it like that. Because these are supposed to be layered lines. If I'm trying to do it like they do it, then the lines have to intersect. See, like that. I think. I mean, this is one of those things where I could sit there and pull up an example and try to kind of copy it. But that's not really what I'm going for. I'm more trying to do my own version of it without necessarily copying somebody else's. I don't want to just be mimicking, per se. But I know it's something like this. At least this is how it looks to me. See where they do those... You know, that's kind of it. That's kind of it. This might be workable for me. See, it's just doing more and more of these layered lines. And I'm okay breaking the back of the thing. That's okay, because I'm going to just erase that. That's easy enough to fix. But something like this. It's not bad. It's not bad. This might be okay. I mean, it's weird. It's not what I normally do. But... Hold on, let me just erase these edges. Because I do want the edges to be clean on this. But I like it when I see other people doing it. Or when I've seen examples of it, I should say other people. But yeah, that's not bad. It's not bad. That might work. Let me turn the black layer off. So that's what it would look like without the black layer on. I don't dislike that. This is interesting. It's different. But I think it might actually be okay for it. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm gonna try it. That's the point. Is to see how it works. And see what I think of it. So let's just keep going with it and see what we get out of it. See, and I don't really know if they stack them and then do it like this. And then just keep going, and then something like that occurs. That sort of makes sense to me. Interesting. Now I'm going to have to be careful on some of these because, as you can see, if I do a line here going that way, I might intersect that. So I'll probably have to break this into 2 layers. Kind of alternating layers where there might be some crossover. Same thing right there. But that's okay. I mean, it's not a big deal. Not the biggest deal in the world. Okay, so let's just keep going here. And again, we're just going to follow our existing lines and just see how this goes. But I don't dislike this. It's just different. I don't know if I'm doing it very well. I mean, I guess there is no doing it very well. It's just whatever you do. But yeah, it's just different. But like I said, I like the look when I see it in other stuff, so it is good to occasionally stretch out and try things. There we go. Okay. Yeah. I mean, and I guess I should say, on the off chance the power does go out again, if the stream suddenly vanishes, you know, it could be that too. I don't anticipate that because it's not raining. But after the last couple days, I don't know. Also, I just put a disclaimer. I could vanish at any minute. Oh, damn, thing went off again. Or I could just have a problem where I can't keep anything connected. Really annoying. Now Twitch is trying to screw me. So I guess it's always something. Hold on, I'm waiting. I gotta reconnect here. What? Oh, hold on. Did I accidentally hit something? Hold on 1 second. Bear with me, because jeez, this thing keeps. What is this thing doing? Continue filling. What does that mean? What is color drop? I'm not trying to do color drop. Okay. All right. Now I just feel like the whole setup is fighting me. Anyway. Wait, I am. Yeah, okay. I was just making sure or something. Yeah, no, I'm okay. All right. Hey. So much for a relaxing early morning stream. I mean, it is. It's not. I'm not. It's fine. See, this is where I want to see what this looks like. So I'm gonna try this with this one. I'm gonna try that. This is how I normally do this type of thing. Is these kind of separated line layers. But what I'm going to try is then intermixing them and seeing what that looks like. So I'm going to do this, right? And then I'm going to do, so I'm just going to use my usual method of doing things, which is this kind of thing where it's just layered lines, which I also like, but you know, like I said, it's good to just branch out a little bit. Still sharing? Okay, good. I gotta kind of pay attention because it seems to be doing its. I'm gonna drop the whatever connection more often now. It seems to be now Twitch. Well, I don't know. Actually, this could be the software too. It could be the mirroring software in this case because the mirroring software is prompting me for codes over and over. So maybe I can't blame Twitch Studio for this for once. So see, I'm gonna do this in between these. And I'm angling it a little bit because I have a feeling I kind of would have to so that it creates that intersection, that sort of faux cross-hatching thing. Okay. And then we'll do it. So I guess I'm going to have to do this. Jeez, I'm going to do like 2 sets of layers on there, 2 sets of lines on these. This is interesting. I would be actually curious how people who do this stuff all the time do it, if this is how they do it or if they do a different method of it. It could be as simple as this. It could just be a lot of doubling. It would not exactly shock me, but boy, that's a lot of line work. Not that I'm a stranger to that. I've done a lot of line work. So see, now I've done, okay. Now I got to keep track of all the secondary layers I've done, which some of these are going to be a lot of secondary layers, but that's okay. It's not really a complaint. It's just an observation. All right, so that's there. So then I would need to do, okay, wait. So I did one there. So I need to do now one here. And try not to get lost in all these different lines, which might happen. And I'd have to do one here. Try doing it like the opposite way a little bit. Create that blackened layer. And then I guess I gotta do one here. Okay. Did that go all the way through? Let me see. Yeah, this would have to come over here. Yeah, something like that. Just on the edges. All right, let's see. Hold on a minute, because very tough to tell what this actually looks like with that other black layer underneath it. So let's clean these edges up. And let's see what we're dealing with here. I don't know that this is something I would do on every image. I don't mind that. It's okay. It's interesting. It's different, you know, and that's kind of the thing I wanted to do, was something a little different. It does feel like that's different, so, huh. Yeah, I don't know that I would do this on every image, but maybe. You know, it's interesting. Just out of curiosity here. You see, I don't know that I like that just as a, because there it's kind of like a light green. I don't know that I like it as a light green. I think I do like it as a black. I don't know that I like it with it being just a lighter color. I don't know yet. I don't know yet. Haha. Well, let me just check something. I seriously doubt it. But, okay. Well, actually, I shouldn't say it. I know Lando's not watching, but what Lando doesn't know, I don't know if you could hear the little alert in the background, but what Lando doesn't know is I was, because I told Lando, I don't like doing gifts anymore for holidays. I don't like doing it. It's just, I don't like it. It's like the idea that if you see something that somebody likes, you pick it up for them because you think they'd like it, and that's it. I don't need structured gifts. I don't need holiday organized gifts, all that kind of thing. Which is very tough to break people of. And I understand. That's fine. People are very used to, oh, this particular holiday or event, give gift. Okay, I got it. But I don't subscribe to it. So, I thought the other day, I was like, well, you know, I saw the Adam Savage on his Tested channel was showing off he just received the Nerf pulse rifle, the Aliens pulse rifle. And, oh yeah, it's on the way. And I went, and I thought about getting one myself. And I thought, you know what? I don't really need a Nerf gun. In fact, I have a couple, but I don't really need them. It's not like I go around shooting Nerf stuff. I like the concept, but I don't actually have a use for it. And it's just like, why are you buying it if you don't have a use for it? But Lando has kids, and Lando loves aliens. So I thought, you know what? This is a great gift. So I ordered him a pulse rifle and I sent it to him. I just realized my, where are my, what do you call it? Where are the inner eyeball lines? Why don't I see them? Oh, there they are. Oh, okay. I just realized they were missing. I was starting to freak out. So I just got a notification that those shipped. So he will be getting a pulse rifle. I don't know when. Let me see if it has, it probably doesn't have any type of, I doubt it has a shipping track. Let's see. I just got it, so I doubt it's even got it. I don't know where it's shipping from. Let's see. Standard tracking number. Where is it shipping from, though? Does it tell you? Probably doesn't. Oh, well, okay, wait. Yeah, it's not there yet. But at some point in the near future, Lando will be getting a Hasbro Nerf pulse rifle, which I kind of felt it out the other day. I talked about seeing one, and he said, oh, yeah, the thing looks great. So that confirmed to me that he doesn't have one yet. You have to be careful with those things. You can't just go fishing for it because you don't want to give it away. So that would destroy the surprise. The surprise will be when he gets that giant box in his house and has no idea what it is. That'll be funny. So I expect a call about that because I know that thing is in a pretty big box. So anyway, onward. Let's see. Okay, so those will be intersect the lines. So let's go to this little one down here. Okay, let's do this one. So yes, Lando will have a Nerf pulse rifle. I looked at it, and I mean, it's neat conceptually. Oh, I remember how I did it. What I said was, Lando at one point actually had a movie-used pulse rifle from Aliens. Now, it wasn't a hero model. It was one of the ones, the simplified, like it was wood. And it was one of the simplified ones that they just kind of ran around with. But I remember him having that thing. I held that thing several times. It was awesome. But, no moving parts, the little screen, nothing like that. It was literally just made to be seen in the background. So for people who don't know, and I'm sure most people know this, not everything you see in a movie is the fully functional version of whatever it is, especially when it comes to really detailed props. They have what's called hero models, which are the ones that are meant to be seen up close, and often have little lights and more of the bells and whistles of the things that need to be seen on camera when they're uptight. And then they have I don't know what the name for the other ones is. I know they call the main ones hero ones. I don't know what the other ones are called. But the other ones are generally just there, literally to be seen in the background, and you don't really worry about how good it looks. It's just there to be present. So this was one of the non-hero ones. I mean, the hero ones, those are rare and would have been worth a ton of money, so I'm sure he would have wisely sold it. But he had that one for a lot of years, and I think he gave it to his brother, he said. But that was how I kind of did a little bit of a fishing expedition on whether he had the Nerf one. Was to say, oh, you know, I was watching a thing on that Nerf pulse rifle. Have you seen that? Oh yeah, it's really neat looking. You had that pulse rifle, right? You know, blah 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 blah. And that was how I did it. That was how I fished for the fact that I wanted to say, oh yeah, I bought one of those, and then I buy it. So, as far as I know, he doesn't have one, but he will soon. He will soon. Yeah. I'm kind of good at fishing for info like that without alerting people of things. One of my rare good social skills is the ability to fish information on how to buy gifts for people. You know, it's a useful skill. It's a helpful trait now and then. Not everybody is... Sometimes it takes more effort than others, but there are times like that where a natural opening presents itself. So, yeah. So, a pulse rifle will be arriving at Lando's house. I mean, FedEx is sending it, so I don't know what FedEx is like where he is, but they're certainly not known for their speediness here, so it may take a little while, but that's okay. Like I said, the only thing that's a shame is I won't be able to see the expression when he first sees this giant box delivered to him, because it does look like it's in a pretty big box, so I imagine there will be some degree of confusion for a few minutes. But if I know Lando, he'll see that it's from Hasbro, at which point he'll put together that this is, you know, me sending him that. I don't think it'll take much for him to figure out that, because we'll have just talked about it, you know, he'll have the memory of us talking about it within recent weeks, so that's not going to be a tremendous mystery for him to solve. Okay. Let's turn that back off and take a look. I'm kind of digging this. I think it's working. This technique or whatever, this style of line shading is working better for me, having never done it before, than I thought it would. I don't mind it. I don't know, again, if it's something I would do all the time, but I think it's working, at least for this particular image. So I'm happy about that. So let's do... Man, the CPU on this thing is really spiking today, so I have a feeling it's just going to keep crashing. Let's... Let me think what I want to do here. One thing that's bugging me is these... I don't like the green on top of that. I wonder if I need to do little lines there to kind of indicate that that's a ridge where the eye is behind it. Something about this doesn't look right to me. I just can't figure out what it is. But something about it I don't like. Maybe there's too much of the green. I don't know. But it's bothering me. I don't like how much of that there. Or maybe it is just because it doesn't have a black layer. Let me look. It could just be that. It could be because it doesn't look right that it doesn't have an edge to it. So let's do this. Let's just put some... Oh, yeah, I forgot. I'd have to do... They would have to go on top of that layer because this is a separate layer itself. Okay, so let's do this. Maybe if I just have some lines in here to indicate that it's the edge, that will help with kind of that weirdness to me, because it just doesn't look right to me. I mean, it just doesn't. I don't know how else to put it. It just doesn't look quite like I feel like it should look. So let's just do something like this and see if that kind of makes it better for me. I don't know. It just doesn't look right to me. You know what? No, this is not going to work for me. This is not working for me, so we're going to have to figure this out. I think what I'm going to have to do... Oh, it's going to bug me. I got to figure it out, though. It's just not... That's not working. That look doesn't... It doesn't look right to me. Those things that came out. Come on. Yeah, this is... My irritation with how much this is disconnecting is going to mean this stream is going to be ending soon, because now it's just irritating me how much it's doing this. It should not be doing this much. There we go. Okay. What I think I need to do is something like this. And I think I'm just going to have to finish... that eyeball, and I'm going to have all the eyeball visible. Because I just don't like the way it looks. I mean, it's as simple as that. I don't like the way it looks otherwise. So, let's see. Let's see what we can do here. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's okay. It's more of a kind of irritation than anything. The nice part is I do have the same size eyeballs in different places. Let me see. It's one of the reasons I kept this the way I did. Let me find one of those eyeballs, because I have the different types. That's the big one. That's the bigger one, or less. I think it's this one. Duplicate that. Okay, let me see here. I believe this is the right size. It is, so at least I can get that right. There we go. Alright, so underneath... Is that one? It is. Okay. You know what? It just dropped again for absolutely no good reason. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, because now it's irritating me, and I don't want it to start to irritate me in a way that informs my... Oh, turn the keyboard on. Informs the work. So what I do is I'm going to bring this stream to a close now, because for whatever reason, the software has decided that it's just going to act up today. That's okay. Still got a good amount of time in. Still got to do the little line work I was trying to do. I actually kind of like the way it's working out. So absolutely not a bad stream by any measure, at least not in my opinion. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. The sneeze is... it unstuck right when I unmuted. Okay. It was one of those sneezes that was stuck in my nose. Like, I knew it was coming, but I couldn't tell when. Okay, but whatever. So, yeah, I'm going to fix those eyes. I don't like them. I'll probably do those separate from the stream, because it's just, it's just a matter of fixing the eyes. But I like the fact that those lines look good. I really didn't know. I thought, I might just do these lines and hate them. But I really don't. I think they might work out. So that's a plus. I'm actually happy about that. And the fact that the power's still on. So many things I'm pleased about. Just not that the iPad keeps getting unmirrored, and I don't know what that is. I don't know whether it's Twitch. I mean, Twitch is maxing on CPU again when it hasn't been for a while. So that has to be a component, or there's some interaction between the two of these things. I don't know which thing it is, because there is no... I'm just checking now. There's no update for that software available. So it's not, as far as I can tell, the mirroring software. At least as far as I can tell. Check for updates. Hold on. No, up to date. So ain't that. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. We still got a good amount of a stream in here. So, I'm not going to worry about it. And we got lines that seem to be working. So, well, welcome to 2023. So far, 3 days in, no major disasters that I'm aware of outside of our storm stuff, and that is hardly anything major. And I really hope it's a nice, quiet year in terms of major world events. We certainly could use a break. So hopefully that's what we're off to a start with. In any event, enjoy whatever is left of whatever day it is and time it is where you are. If you can, go out and create something. As always, thank you for coming by and watching the stream, or watching it later. It really doesn't matter to me when it is. And we'll see you on the next stream. Again, thanks for stopping by, and take care.